Bonjour, hello, and welcome back to the city of love, the city of lights, the city of art. That right there that you're looking at is Paris, France. And this is the Sometimes Vlog. It's a vlog that happens sometimes, and sometimes it happens here, halfway across the world, in Paris, France. Look right here. It's the Eiffel Tower. It's smaller than my finger, which means it's a lot smaller than I expected. I'm kidding, of course. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Paris. I have just come on a train from Disneyland Paris all the way into the city of Paris itself, because Disneyland Paris, despite the name, is actually probably 45 minutes by taxi or train away from Paris. So kind of the distance from Anaheim to Los Angeles. But let's not even think about Disneyland right now. Let's take a look at what is behind me, shall we? Look at there. There's the Eiffel Tower right there. Just over here is the Louvre. We just put up a random land. 5 weird things in the Louvre. There's actually more than 5 weird things. And the weirdest thing of all is just me saying things about art. So if you don't know about art, you probably want to go at youtube.com/thefasttypeboard and check it out. The Louvre, the Palace of the Louvre right over here. And then this bridge that you see right there, this bridge right there is called the Pont, which I think just means bridge. The Bridge of the Arts, the Pont du Art right there. This is the famous Parisian bridge where people used to put, couples that were in love used to put a lock on the bridge. And as long as the lock stayed on the bridge, their romance, their love would last like forever and ever and ever. Unfortunately, apparently the city of Paris came by this bridge and cut all the locks off. Like they took the whole side of the bridge thing off with all the locks because it was destroying the bridge. All of your love was destroying the bridge. So whatever lovers out there have come and put a lock on this bridge, how dare you? You and your love destroying the infrastructure and maybe the economy. And look at, speaking of locks, somebody has put a lock right here on the bottom of this crazy light pole. And I am just now, for the first time, standing up here above the Seine River, has started to get a little bit dizzy and afraid of heights, which is literally insane, right? Because hello. Because I'm feeling a little insane. Those are some nice people sitting there. This bridge is full of lovers and cuddlers and people canoodling and having little moments to themselves. And those people were very politely waiting for me. Hey, how's it going, man? Very politely waiting for me to get out of the way. But look at that. It's the Eiffel Tower over there and the Louvre over there. Both those things we've seen on this vlogs. If you go backwards on my vlogs, you'll see those. Let's cross this bridge with these crazy brick pavements right here. Oh, look, they want to get in the vlog. Oh, that's awesome. How's it going, guys? Right here. Oh, from Germany? That's awesome. I'm from California. It's nice to meet you guys. Hey, how's it going? Look at that. From Germany. People from all over the world are coming here, looking out at this view over the river over there. This thing over here is the Conciergerie. The Conciergerie. Now that sounds really nice because to us in English, concierge, you think of the thing at the hotel desk where somebody helps you and they give you maybe maps and information, or they help you get a van to go get Mountain Dew at the post office like they did for me the other day at the Disneyland Hotel, but I'm trying not to talk to you about Disneyland. But this right here, this conciergerie is nothing like what it would sound in English. It's not a concierge for the city of Paris. This right here is the island of the city. So actually the river splits around this giant island right here. We're at the very tippy bottom end of it. At the top end of it is the Cathedral of Notre Dame, and I'm headed that way in a second. But this, the conciergerie, is actually a very creepy old school prison. It's been there like a fort since like I don't know, the medieval times, and during the French Revolution, and more specifically the Terror, because there was the French Revolution where the people overthrew the kings and the queens and whatnot, and then there was the counter-revolution. There was this thing called the Terror, and during the Terror it was basically a mass execution. It's basically hounding out and sniffing out and mass executions of about 40,000, I think. 40,000 people who were deemed enemies of the revolution. Even Marie Antoinette was kept in a prison inside the Conciergerie. Marie Antoinette, the Queen of France, was kept in that prison. So all around us, as you can see, is all kinds of crazy history. I am not that familiar, just full disclosure, I am not at all familiar with French history. I am not at all familiar with the French language or reading, and I did download that Google Translate app, which is super useful. I've been getting around the city mostly by lucky guesses and blind sheer luck and ignorance and a little adventure. No, I've been using my brains and being street smart and all that stuff. But I've come here, I don't even know what this bridge is called, I can't remember. But I've come here just behind the Louvre here. I took the train all the way from Paris Disneyland Paris, came here, popped up, was walking to Notre Dame, and then realized, like, that's the bridge over there, the Love Bridge and the Eiffel Tower, and here's a guy on a bicycle, and they rent bikes here in Paris, and there's scooters, and it's very European looking, and I'm very overstimulated, as you can see. Anyway, right there, the Conciergerie. Now, speaking of going backwards in vlogs, because you can go backwards and see a vlog from the Louvre where we saw the Mona Lisa, and you can also see my 5 Weird Things video on my other channel, youtube.com/SwiftFastI4, and you can also go back on this channel and see a vlog I did right in front of the Eiffel Tower. Speaking of previous vlogs, just very recently, oh wow, it's actually kind of getting warm out here in the city of Paris. Just very recently, let me flip this around and give you a view of the Seine River and all this crazy stuff going on here. Just recently, I was in Walt Disney World, and as you may know, Walt Disney World also, in addition to the Magic Kingdom, has a theme park called Epcot. And in Epcot is this giant thing called the World Showcase. For those of you who know this, I apologize, but some of you don't. The World Showcase, where there's all these little miniature country pavilions, and one of those little country pavilions is France. And in the French country pavilion, I wandered around very recently and explored it and compared it to my memories of the city of Paris. Now, if you go back and watch that vlog, you pause here and go watch that vlog, you might then be familiar with what these are. I was just talking about these in Epcot. This view right here is sort of the real-life approximation of what we were looking at in that Epcot vlog. Of course, in Epcot, you have a very fake, I think 1/10 the size Eiffel Tower. This thing is huge. That's miles away. It's so massive. It's like a huge skyscraper over there. And then you have the French bridges next to their approximation of like the Seine River. And then you have these crazy shops that are in boxes. These things are just set up along the side of the river here, and at nighttime when these people go home, they just lock up their shop like this in a box, and then in the morning they come back and reopen their shop. And just like at Epcot, you can buy books, you can buy souvenirs, you can buy paintings. It is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Look at those really old books. I really want one of those old books. The problem is all these books are in French. Look at these shops are closed. Dang it. I really wanted that rare Scrooge McDuck comic, and they only sell it right here, but they're closed today. Dang it. Oh, and this one here is the one that sells Mountain Dew. I was gonna show you guys the only place in Paris where I'm lying. It doesn't sell Mountain Dew. Actually, I don't know that it doesn't sell Mountain Dew, so I could just be a complete liar. But look at that. Isn't that crazy? So I had to come to France, see these little shops on the river last time, which I didn't get a chance to vlog. Then I went to Epcot, France, and noticed all those details for the first time after being in the real France. And now I'm back in the real France showing you the thing that reminds me of the other thing that reminds me of here, which is just weird. But look at this. Look at all this crazy French architecture. Have you ever wondered why all the principal famous streets in Paris have this crazy cliff-like tall architecture? Why all the buildings are the same height and they just go vertical straight up from the streets like that, and all the streets are very straight? Well, in the olden times, the post-medieval era of Paris, because Paris is a very, very, very old city. There's been, people living here. Look at the way they park this car up on the curb. Like somebody just doesn't even care. Somebody says, oh look, a lot of people don't care. They're just like, I'll park wherever I want. Oh, I better get out of the bus lane right here. The streets used to be all crooked and all crazy and go every which way, and the buildings were all haphazard and going every which way until Napoleon III came along. And by the time there was a Napoleon III, you can imagine, because remember, there was the revolution, they threw out the kings, and then then there was the Emperor Napoleon, then they got rid of him, put the kings back, and then then Napoleon tried to come back, a whole crazy back and forth thing. By the time you got to Emperor Napoleon III, whose apartments, more like giant palace within a palace, I saw in the Louvre the other day. By the time you got to Napoleon III, people were getting a little sick and tired of revolution after revolution, and they actually started bulldozing like most of Paris. They just started knocking down old buildings and then saying, we're gonna build all the houses straight up and down, all the buildings straight up and down in a straight lines and make straight streets. And the reason was so that they could shoot cannons, shoom, straight down, shoom. Hard to throw up barricades and create blocking points and have secret little revolutions when the streets are as straight as an arrow, well, more or less. And the buildings go straight up and down like that, so you can see anybody sneaking around if you want. No buildings jutting out, just kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. So the reason that Parisian architecture looks the way it does is actually to stop. Another thing that Paris is famous for, revolutions. No way you host to have revolutions when you can shoot down the road. Look at these crazy doors in here. The other day, I was walking down Rue de Rivoli, which is this street over here. No, actually it's the street inwards a little bit on the other side of the Louvre. And I was noticing all these crazy big doors. Well, one of them was open and a car was coming out of it. And I realized that actually most of Paris is not just like giant city blocks like this. You see all these city blocks and you think buildings like you think in New York. You think just like a solid building. But actually inside of I don't know about most, because I've never been in most, but inside of a lot of these buildings are crazy huge courtyards. So there's all kinds of gardens and different architecture and different little apartments and different stores and stuff. But a lot of them are behind these crazy facades that all on the outside, on the street facing side, are all the same. But in the inside of this, for all we know, could be a little miniature forest or a rose garden or just a stone courtyard with like a statue of maybe Woody Allen giving someone the bird. That was a weird thought. Look at all these tourists here. There's a lot of tourists from all over the world. And I am trying not to stick a camera on anyone's particular face because I've been warned about the fact that in Europe, unlike in the United States, you can just stick a camera in anybody's face as they're out in public. And I've been warned over and over again. People are like, I've seen your vlogs. Do not just stick the camera in people's faces if you can help it. Wow. Now my experience in the United States, wow, look at all those little Eiffel Towers for sale. My experience in the United States with street vendors and a lot of shopkeepers. Oh, look at this. Maybe they're opening up a new shop here. Oh my gosh, doing a little construction. Maybe gonna have to open up a new shop over here. Going into business for myself, ma. Setting up shop right here. Gonna have an escargot stand right along the River Seine. Isn't that crazy? I can't make the insane joke anymore. I just can't do it. It would be wrong. Anyway, what was I talking about? I forget. Oh, you can't stick a camera in people's face the way you can. People can complain and then the police can come and make you delete the vlog, and we wouldn't want that. We want you to see the vlog. Anyway, the reason there was no vlog yesterday and the reason why I'm in Paris today is that these vlogs are actually brought to you. I'm just giving you a look around while I talk. These vlogs are actually brought to you in a way by my friend Euromaestro. He's a periscoper here in the city of Paris. He hangs out and does all kinds of different stuff in Europe. I think he's been to Dubai and a couple other places. And he actually gave me this device, this MiFi device. I don't have one. MiFi device you can put a SIM card into, and he has several of them, where I was able to actually do some periscopes and upload the vlogs, so that unlike last time I was here in the city of Paris and was only sleeping 30 minutes at a time so I could reconnect to the very slow Disneyland Hotel Wi-Fi, I was actually able to upload video, upload Random Land, upload the Sometimes Vlog in HD and all that good stuff. And well, it turns out that the SIM card has reached its limit of data. I destroyed its data. And I have 3 or 4 or 5 days to go in France here, but Euro was nice enough to meet me at some point later today and switch out SIM cards. Whoa, that was an accident. Switch out SIM cards so that we will be able to continue uploading the Sometimes Vlog. So that's weird. I'm talking about uploading the vlog on the vlog, which is a little meta. Anyway, my experience with street vendors at home, like in Hollywood or anywhere like that. Oh my god. I want rollerblades. That looks fun. I want to go rollerblading in Paris. I didn't know that was a thing. My experience with street vendors at home or around Hollywood and Los Angeles is that if you stick cameras up at the goods and the merchandise and the products, is that people get a little upset and people get weirded out by it. But so I'm trying not to do that too much. I don't want to risk getting yelled at or anything. When you're in a foreign country, look, these are so cool, little saints and things and little Eiffel Tower. When you're in a foreign country, my motto is, it's better to play it safe than to not to do that. So I will not be running around and rolling in it, sticking the camera directly in people's products. But you get the idea over there. I hope you got a quick glimpse. Look at this. This is crazy. There's a store over here that's selling flowers and other things and graffiti. You know, okay, so here we go. Conciergerie. Look at there's the Conciergerie over here. Now the way I understand it is there's actually all kinds of different government installations and institutions and things inside the Conciergerie. It's not just a prison, but that is primarily what it was used for during the Terror, when all those people were executed during the French Revolution and counter-revolution, really. So the Terror is sort of like the counter-revolution, where the revolutionaries turned on the original revolutionaries, and then in that the king and queen, which at first weren't executed, ended up getting executed, which the same thing sort of happened in Russia. Actually, there was the Russian Revolution and the czars were thrown down, but Nicholas was, whoa! Now that right there sounds like a Monty Python skit to me or something. Now that right there sounds very European to my American ears. Anyway, the Tsar was thrown out, but he was still actually alive and around for a while. And then you had the white guys, the white army fighting the red army, and then in the process of that whole thing happening, they're like, let's just execute him. Same thing sort of happened with the French royals over here, because they were over here getting just put down to the side, put off to the side, go to prison, that kind of thing. We're gonna have a republic over here. And then at some point they were like, you know what? No, the king is an enemy of the revolution. He wants to come back to power. And Marie Antoinette's an enemy of the revolution. And so I don't know about the king, I forget. But I know for sure Marie Antoinette at one point was kept inside of the prison here, and then eventually, of course, executed. And actually, the last time that I was in Paris, we did a vlog showing where Marie Antoinette was executed, and where the guillotine was. Pretty crazy. So that's the bridge we started the vlog on, way over there. And then you can see this is the Ile de la Cité or something. De la. I keep using it like it's Spanish. I'm getting really mixed up with French and Spanish and English. Look at that over there. There's like a whole flower shop, little seeds and stuff for sale. And here's like a little cafe. There's a ton of Parisian cafes. And also for your information, just so you know, there's also a ton of Starbucks around. So, you know, there you go. I brought this backpack with me, not because I have anything important in the backpack. It's actually mostly empty except for a can of Mountain Dew. I brought the backpack with me because I'm actually hoping to pick up some of these souvenirs. Last time I was in Paris, I was passing by all these crazy shops and stands and things selling all these books. And, there's a Ratatouille book over there, and old prints and old things. Here's an old print of the Notre Dame Cathedral right there for 20 euro. That's amazing. Look at all these Eiffel Towers here. I couldn't actually get much or take much back with me because I didn't have a bag or anything, and I kept having to go around from place to place, and I didn't have any way of transporting this stuff. Look at this dingo. Les Misadventures de the Incorrigible Dingo. The Misadventures of the Incorrigible Dog, which apparently is Goofy's name here. And then, oh boy, look at that. How funny that I tried to get away from Disney for a day to show you guys, like, you know, the real Paris, and then no matter what I do, I just can't get away from it. Woo, look at this. We have some coasters here. Products and wonderful things and copies of Vogue magazine. This street was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, and there were a lot more products and things there. Oh, what I was going to say is, just like the Disney thing, as I'm going past all these authentic Parisian cafes, I keep noticing that over and over and over again, I keep seeing Starbucks everywhere. So if you really want the authentic French experience, all you have to do is just go to like a Starbucks in downtown LA and pretend the Spanish is French and you can't understand anything and you're really confused, and then just drink Starbucks, and you pretty much have my experience here in France. Look at this. Look at this, the Conciergerie. See, I knew what I was talking about. I'm not completely stupid when it comes to France. Like Eiffel Tower, that's so cool. I'm not completely 100% stupid when it comes to France. It's just I don't speak French and I can't read the signs, and I really don't know what this column is right here. I am completely not sure. There are 4 sphinxes around the bottom. There's a golden angel thing up on top, which kind of reminds me of Mormon temples. And the sphinxes have their mouths open, and it's in the middle of this place. So I'm going to go ahead and say that's called the Column of France. And unless you do a lot of Googling, you will probably not find out how wrong I am. So let's just go with that. Okay, now I am walking across this bridge here on the, let's see, the Rue de, I don't know, one of the rues. So this is some kind of bridge over one of the rues. I don't know what I'm talking about. Walking over the bridge towards Notre Dame Cathedral. You're starting to see the tippity top of Notre Dame, and in the interest of saving time, we are going to fast forward over to there. But yes, use this opportunity, pause the vlog and go back to the vlog in Disney World, exploring Paris in Disney World, exploring France over there, and watch that, and then get back to me. All right, here we go, over to Notre Dame. Actually, I was going to pop over to Notre Dame, but on the way, next to the Conciergerie over here, I remembered what was next door by seeing it, which was the Palace of Justice. Look at this, the Palais de Justice. And it's one of the oldest surviving portions of the old royal palace over here on the island of the city. And this was the Palace of the City over here, and is one of the biggest courts in France. So over there are a bunch of cops with machine guns and stuff, which, by the way, all over Paris and even near Disneyland Paris and pretty much all over France, everywhere I go, I see cops and people in the army with machine guns, and you are very much not supposed to stick a camera in their face. This right here, I don't think means that we can just walk in this giant fence, but there you see the Palace of Justice over there, and I just thought you might like to take a look at that. I saw that the vlog was getting a little long, and so I'm gonna save Notre Dame for the next one. Maybe I can pull this Mountain Dew out of my backpack and we can chill with a dew in front of the Notre Dame Cathedral. What do you think about that? Look at this over here on the Palace of Justice. Not only where there's a huge, this is the biggest French court I think here that prosecutes like war crimes and crazy stuff like that. You'll notice above the doors right there, liberty, égalité, and fraternité. Liberty, equality, and fraternity, which is the tripartite, whatever, motto of France after the revolution. And also what you always see next to their three-colored French flag. You hear those bells up there in that church? You'll also notice this church attached. That's just one more church. There are cathedrals and churches like this all over the city of Paris as I walk around, and I notice like there are some that are so big and crazy, like right at the exit of the train station over here, so big and elaborate and ornate with carvings and gargoyles and statues and huge belfries and bells and all this crazy stuff over them. Where at home you'd have lines and lines of tourists, and some of them here are just like super normal. These ones do have tourists as well. I'm sort of sticking my phone a little bit into the gate here of this crazy court, and so it's probably not the best idea I've ever had. Anyways, I just wanted to come back and let you know instead of just ending the video over here. Also, look at this little taxi bike. There are little taxi bikes like this all over Paris, and they're always rocking music. You see some tourists inside of that contraption right there getting a ride around, and I kind of want to ride around like that. I don't speak French, so I don't know how much that would cost, but there you go. The Palace of Justice right there, where many a person was tried and then sent next door to the Conciergerie and then probably guillotined to death with their head. Their kappas were dictated from their heads. Can you believe that? Anyway, I am going to end the vlog here, pull out this Mountain Dew, have a sip, and walk the remaining however far on the island of the city over to Notre Dame. And I hope this inspires a little Googling and Wikipediaing. Are we jaywalking? We're jaywalking. I like it. I'm jaywalking in another country. Oh, don't want to get, sorry. Scusi. No, that's not right either. Pardon. Pardonnez-moi. Anyway, there you go. Look at that. The Palace of Justice. Wow, I should have probably started over here and gave you a better view right from the beginning. Look how ornate those gates and crazy things are. And not that this is exactly a commonplace building in France or anything. Obviously, there's lots of tourists seeing it and taking pictures of it and stuff like that. But there is stuff as ornate and as crazy and as old and wild and European looking as this is all over this city. And people don't even blink an eye. They're just like, nah, whatever. No big deal. Oh, by the way, no holding hands, all right? Just make sure I'm looking around here. There's a mom and a daughter back there. There's some kids over here. Luckily, I don't think anyone's good. Everybody calm. We don't want any hand holding here. And if you hold hands here, you go to the Palace of Justice and you get convicted and you get sent to La Conciergerie, and then guillotine, the razor, right to the neck. With your head will pop off and you won't have any head. And when you're sitting alone in your room at night and you held hands, you're gonna be thinking, was it worth it? When you're sitting in your bedroom and you have no head and you're looking in the mirror at your torso with your heads on the table and you're like, what? You're gonna be like, I really wish I didn't hold hands with a small child and help it across the street. Because that's illegal in France. We don't want that. Okay, liberty, equality, and fraternity and brotherhood and friendship, but no helping children across the street or you're gonna die. I love traveling because there's just so much to learn, and boy am I learning a lot. Okay, 5 weird things at the Louvre. Stay tuned for some more Sometimes vlogs. Subscribe, and I will see you later. Live fast, die poor at spreadshirt.com, and of course, Patreon. I have one of those too. Patreon.com/JustinScott. This time I was really brought here by somebody else, by the way. I want to say this, to film a couple of things at Disneyland Paris. That's why I've been mostly at Disneyland Paris. There have been a few complaints, few grumpy rumpies here on the vlogs being like, how come you haven't explored more of Paris? How come you haven't explored more of the other park? How come you haven't done this, that, and the other thing? It's because I'm here to do a job, and I've been filming the things that I was brought here to film, and working actually really hard on those, and meeting up with people and getting distracted, and pulling off all the adventures that I can. I hope soon, once I go back to the United States. Just tentative plans for the future, and just giving you a little look around this crazy place. Look, another place selling flowers over here. Weird. My plans when I go back to the United States are to hopefully go on a road trip across the country and do lots and lots and lots of sometimes vlog specific trips. And of course, if I were coming to Paris on my own dime and on my own trip just to do the vlogs, I would be probably staying in the city, and I would probably, you know, be doing a little more research and being a little less stupid about what everything is as we look around. Look at that. The farther away you get from that building, the more impressive it gets. Dang, this makes me want to go up to like every beautiful person that I know and just like walk really far away from them and see if like distance softens the picture. Like, are you even prettier when I walk away from you? I know for me personally, like the farther away from me you get, the more beautiful I am, because when you get right up close, it's honestly just quite, it's horrific. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Look at this. This is weird. We're on an island between the river in the center of Paris. I'll show you actually. Look, there's a map over here. We're on, look at the circle. We're on this little island in the center of the city, and this woman dressed like Cindy Lou Who was like, yes, that's correct. You are on that island. She was very helpful. We are on this island in the center of the city, packed with the Palace of Justice and Notre Dame Cathedral, I promise you, is just over here. We're not going to see it on this vlog. And right here is this weird little street with a bunch of flowers. Like, it's like a flower market. Oh, wait a minute, I know. It's so when you hold, so many people hold hands and get sent to court and then go to the jail and then get their heads cut off by guillotines, that they needed a place close by to buy flowers, you know, to put on the grave. That's so unfair. I wonder if people in Paris hate the whole guillotine thing. And if that's true, like I'm hashtag I'm sorry, like I don't want to just rub it in that people's heads got cut off here, but as an American who's very interested in the French Revolution, although I have not studied it like I've studied a lot of other things, as an American that's very interested in that stuff, and scenes of like the terror and the guillotine and all that, it's all very fascinating to me, especially like royalty and how the royalty came down everywhere in Europe. It's like the craziest, most mind-boggling thing to somebody who's grown up in California. So I'm sorry for harping on that a lot. By the way, here's one of those bike rental stands I was talking about. But I can't help myself. I'm the ignorant American, and I've come across the seas like Mark Twain before me to erase my ignorance. Travel is fatal to prejudice and all that stuff. Google that quote, or I'll put it on my Twitter. Twitter.com/JustinScarred. Live Fast Die Poor on Instagram. Live Fast Die Poor on Snapchat. Let's see where we end up in the next vlog. Maybe we'll end up around the corner outside of Notre Dame. Maybe. Or maybe not. Nah, let's just go home and sleep well. Bye-bye. Maybe though. See you next time. Remember, kids, no matter where you go or what you do, and no matter how tempting it is, never hold hands at all, ever. It's completely illegal and not allowed. I'm confused.